Hey guys, it's me, and welcome to Trevor Miller Entertainment, where comic books meet musical theater. This video is pretty much just gonna be me talk about my four all-time favorite movies. Yes, cause due to my little brother introducing me to Letterboxd, I narrowed down favorites, like how I narrowed down my favorite music into my top three favorite music are show tunes, Disney music, and Christian music because they're the ones I listen to the most. So, yeah, here we go. Annie, the 1982 one. Now, some of you are probably perplexed by this option because the 1999 one is the more accurate to the Broadway musical one. And yes, I love the Broadway musical too. Actually, this one was Aladdin. Then I realized I feel like I talk about Annie a lot more. Granted, when I'm talking about Annie, it's usually the Broadway musical, but I enjoy the 80s movie too, so yeah, it was Aladdin to go with my whole making it two superhero movies and two Disney movies. But and then I chose the 80s Annie movie, even though the 90s Annie movie was Disney, so it would have worked better with my original plan and also was more accurate to the Broadway musical. But yeah, so here's why I chose the 1982 Annie as one of my favorite movies. I really like the 90s movie too. It's really good and great if you want accuracy. But I feel like the 80s movie came on TV more when I was a kid, so have more nostalgia for that one, and also even now I feel like I tend to watch that one more since there was a time period I was watching it alongside Matilda. So yeah, I just went with the 1982 Annie because I feel like, yeah, and then I went with Annie in place of Aladdin because I feel like I talk about it way more, even though usually that's with the Broadway musical, but still, I like this movie too, and I feel like I have fond memories with the 80s movie, so it's the only time I watched the first time I watched the 90s movie, and then the only time until I owned it, which I own it now, was in junior high choir. My choir teacher put it on. So yeah, the 80s movie gets a favorite spot. Wizard of Oz. Some of you long stayers are probably surprised by this one, since I did a few tributes showing that it was Mighty Ducks. Look, that was also to keep the Disney element of my favorite movies list, and I still love Mighty Ducks and love how 90s they are and how cheesy they are. But the thing is, at that point, I was kinda in denial that Wizard of Oz would be on there, but I started thinking about all the times it was very evidently one of my favorites, and I was like, "Oh, am I kidding? It's definitely has to be on here." So yeah, I'll just give you a few of my memories with Wizard of Oz, and you'll see why it has to be on there. So, Oz books were all I would want to check out from the library as a kid. That one's more evidence that I like that the books are my favorite books, are some of my favorite books, I guess, than it is for the movie, but still. I dressed up as Tin Man for Halloween when I was a kid, twice. When Oz the Great and Powerful came out, the dad of two of my best friends, who's also was a mentor figure for me, asked me how appropriate it was, figuring I would be the best person to ask because of my love for Oz. I've mentioned multiple times the idea of recreating Wizard of Oz with with me as Tin Man, I would rather be Scarecrow, but I feel like personality-wise, I'm more like Tin Man. My little brother as Scarecrow, whatever other guy was currently there at the moment as Lion, and whatever woman was currently there at the moment as Dorothy. Even my introduction to Wizard of Oz was, I walked into the living room while my parents were watching it. After it was over, got upset that it wasn't scheduled to come on again. So my mom read me, this was also when I got introduced to the books. So my mom read me the Wizard of Oz book. Because I was still at that age where that's not weird. And even though it wasn't scheduled, it came on again. So yeah, there's no way Wizard of Oz doesn't. So yeah, there's no reason Wizard of Oz shouldn't be on here alongside Annie, Superman the movie, and Spider-Man. Superman the movie, this is my all-time favorite superhero movie. It's Christopher Reeve is perfect as Superman. It really represents what Superman's all about, and just, it's a perfect movie. Yeah. And then Spider-Man 2002. Now, well, like I said, Superman the movie is my favorite superhero movie. This one's my favorite Marvel movie, if you can even call it Marvel, but I would. This was before anything Marvel had a specific, like Disney owned Marvel entirely, so I feel like at the time it would have, Spider-Man being Sony wouldn't have mattered, so yeah. But yeah, this is, Tobey Maguire's a fine Spider-Man. I'd actually say he's perfect, but I know a lot of people would probably disagree with me. I'm kind of still to this day torn between web shooters or organic webbing, because web shooters I know are more accurate to the comics, but organic webbing makes more sense, and for that reason, I think translates better to live action. Like, because why wouldn't the spider bite give him webs if it gave him all the other powers? So, yeah, it's like the ruby slippers with Wizard of Oz. There's silver in the book, but I think ruby slippers works for the movie. And then I know some people have a problem with Tobey Maguire not being a teenager, which I never understood that complaint. I think he looks enough like a teenager, especially since we see him graduate in the movie. And even if he didn't, you gotta remember, Judy Garland was a teenager when she played a little girl, Dorothy. So, yeah, I find it funny that people complain about Tobey being too old, but never Judy Garland being too old. But yeah, so yeah, those are my 4 favorite movies. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope I didn't bore you to death with talking about these movies. Comment below what your 4, hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe if you want to, and if you do, turn on those post notifications so you never miss a video. Comment below what your 4 favorite movies are, and I'll see you next time. Bye!